Yeah, it has. It's been a really great beginning to our season. We had a little bit of a hiccup at Bristol and had a flat tire and got behind, fell all the way to 22nd in points. So that makes being eighth in points right now even that much more of a big deal for us, because it's not like we have fallen into this. It's not a fluke. We've actually battled back from 22nd in points up to eighth. So really proud of Todd Parrott and all the guys on this 43 team. They've been giving me really fast cars each and every week. And we're on a little bit of a run here the last few weeks. We got 4 top 10s in a row. So really proud of my guys. Really proud of everybody at Richard Petty Motorsports. We're not as surprised as everybody else is. We feel like at the end of last year we were running really strong, and we were a little disappointed that Homestead came because we didn't want the season to end because we were running so well. So beginning of this season's kind of kicked off right where we left off last year, and really proud of that.
All right, we'll go ahead and open for questions for Aric. Okay, let's start with Bob.
Bob Pockris, Sporting News. You go back to Charlotte for the next 2 weeks, and last year that was I want to imagine was a pretty big deal for you as far as the pole and everything. How much did that play a role into where you are today?
Well, a small part. It was a big deal for us to qualify on the pole there. It was a really special weekend to do it on Memorial Day weekend with U.S. Air Force on the car. So it was a really big deal, and I think at the time somebody said it had been like 30 or 40 years or something since the 43 car had been on the pole at Charlotte. So that was cool to have Richard Petty there, and we celebrated a little bit that night, and then it was over. We went into the race, and we ran average in the race. I think we finished 15th or 16th. So I think that was just a small part of our season, but the biggest part of where I feel like our success has come so far this year was starting at Chicago of last year. When I started working with Todd Parrott at the beginning of the chase, those last 10 races really changed everything for me. You guys wrote about it every week. I was the guy that was the odd man out. Somebody else was going to take my seat. Everybody that was considered available was going to take my ride. And then I started working with Todd Parrott, and we started running really well, and ran in the top 10 several times, and that Kansas race really sticks out for me. We led a lot of laps and probably had the car to beat, and got a flat tire. But I think those last 10 races really sparked a lot of momentum with me personally and our race team. And that carried through the off season and right to the beginning of this year.
All right, go ahead.
Steve Conley, MotorRacingDigest.com. Aric, you said you weren't surprised over here, over by the wall. You said you weren't surprised by the early season success, but does the team have any surprise that it's gone from the COT from last year to the Gen 6, and how fast you guys have developed with this new car?
Yeah, we certainly weren't really sure what to expect at the beginning of this year. We didn't do a lot of off-season testing. The very first test we did at Charlotte in December, we didn't even have a proper car done. It was basically a show car with one of those composite bodies on it. Until the beginning of January, we didn't have an actual Gen 6 car in our race car shop. So that was big for us to get going. The Charlotte test was the first real test for us in January. We went there. We were the quickest car there. So we really just hit it off right from the get-go, right at the Charlotte test. We had a lot of speed in our car. Into the test, the quickest car there. So, like I said, I'm not overly surprised at how well we've run this year, just because right when we started the season at the January test at Charlotte, we had a lot of speed. Then it was just about executing the races and doing all the things we need to do to be competitive on a race weekend.
All right, let's go to Jim Utter up front here, and then Lee Spencer.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer. You talked, there's been a lot of talk, of course, about the success, and the 43 hasn't done certain things for so long a time. But you talked earlier about how last year people were ready to put whatever driver X in the car. I know that Richard and the people at Petty have a lot of satisfaction in what's going on right now. Do you take any personal satisfaction that you're
Absolute-
still here?
Absolutely.
And, right now you have the longest current top 10 streak of any driver in the series.
Yeah, absolutely. This sport is such a funny sport. You look at across the garage, the ups and downs of this sport will drive you crazy. There's no doubt in my mind that Tony Stewart is probably one of the best race car drivers out there. And you look at his season, and if you just purely go on stats, you'd be like, oh man, who's going to take his job? But it's just our sport. It's tough, and you got to have everything clicking on all 8 cylinders. And right now we have that. I've had that since I've joined up with this whole team and Todd Parrott and all of his guys. So, I'm just excited to be a part of Richard Petty Motorsports. I was glad that they believed in me and kept me in the car. Because at times, deservedly so. I didn't deserve. I was running 25th every week. It wouldn't have been a shock had they said, "Hey, we're probably going to do something different." But they believed in me. They put me with Todd Parrott. Todd believed in me, and right off the bat, we ran really strong and competed. And that was really the turning point for me. I started getting confidence back. And then once our team had the confidence and the momentum, and I have confidence, everything's been really good.
All right, Lee.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. What is it about Todd Parrott? What is the chemistry between you two that has just really made things click?
Well, first and foremost, he's right from the get-go. He just treated me like a friend. He didn't treat me like a boss. He didn't treat me like a veteran crew chief, and I was a rookie driver. Like, he just treated me like a friend, and we worked on it together. And that was our mentality going into it, was we're going to do this together. We're going to prove people wrong together. And that was our mentality. And it's been really a big breath of fresh air for me, because that was the first crew chief I've ever had that when I told him something was wrong with the car, he went to work on it and tried to fix it and didn't try to fix my driving. Didn't tell me I was driving in the corner too hard. Didn't tell me I need to arc out more. Didn't tell me I need to back my corner up, or why am I doing X, Y, Z on the racetrack. He just went to work on the race car and didn't try and fix my driving. He tried to fix the car to make it handle how I wanted it to. And that's the first time I had that in a really long time. So that was a big deal for me, just in my confidence that he wasn't going to question me as a race car driver. He was just going to try and do everything in his power to give me, what I wanted.
After seeing the pecking order at Ford change a little bit with Penske Racing coming in and, a little bit of distribution of wealth kind of changing there, do you get any sense of relief seeing what Front Row accomplished last week with David Reagan, another Ford team that maybe isn't as well funded as a Penske or a Roush, but, has the tools there?
Yeah, it's no secret that we're not a top funded team. I mean, you guys know that, and it's not a big secret. We don't have the money and the financial resources, and even the parts and pieces side of the resources like the top tier teams do. But that's what makes running so good, so satisfactory, because we do it with great people. And that's what I see out of Richard Petty Motorsports and out of this 43 team especially. This sport, you can have all the best parts and pieces in the world. If you don't have the right people to put them together, you're still going to struggle. So, we don't have all of the absolute best parts and pieces that we could possibly get, but we have great people, and that makes up for a lot of it.
All right, we'll end by coming up front here to Andy. We can get him a microphone.
Andy Shane from the State Newspaper. Aric, what's it like to go from, as you were saying, the guy who was going to be replaced to the guy who's sitting up here on a podium and obviously trying to maybe maintain that during the year? What's it just that transition like for you to get this attention?
It's different. Not used to it for sure. But it feels good. You just want to keep it going. That's the biggest thing is when you get in a spot like this, it almost, it almost adds more pressure to you. Not that I feel like I have any pressure, but you just want to keep it going. You don't want it to stop. You don't want to ever go back to the lows that, I don't want to go back to the lows that I had of last year, where it was a great day for us would be to run in the top 20, because we were, on average we'd run 25th. That was no fun. I was getting on the airplane on Thursday afternoons, not even looking forward to going to race, and I should be, because it's what I love to do, and I probably have one of the coolest jobs in the world. I should have been stoked to get on the airplane every week, but I wasn't. And now I am. Now every single week, I can't wait to get to the airplane to go to the racetrack. And I don't care what racetrack we're going to. I'm just excited to go to the racetrack.
Real quick follow. What do fans ask about you now that you're sort of in the top 10 and they say, well, I want to know more about you? Or what do they ask you about?
I usually get the old, how is it to drive for Richard Petty? That's the common question, regardless of how we run. So, I think a lot of people, have a lot in connection with that 43 car, especially the longtime fans of NASCAR that have been watching Richard Petty win a lot of races in that 43 car. So, the big thing for me is I want to get that 43 car back to victory lane bad. It's been, I think, 13 or 14 years since it's been back to victory lane, and I would love nothing more than to be the guy that can get that done and get the 43 back to victory lane.